What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Constructive Liberty Podcast. I'm trying something out a little different this morning. Yes, I'm live streaming again, which I've done plenty of times, but I'm actually going live quite early in the morning for most people, 6 o'clock a.m. And the reason for that is typically my podcasts are recorded in the middle of the day on Wednesday. Wednesday is my content creation day. And this morning I'm actually going to go out on the job today. I'm in construction. That's day job. That's what pays the bills. Podcasting doesn't pay my bills yet. So I'm actually going out on the job today for a few hours to try to get some stuff done just to keep the homeowners happy. And so that's why I'm recording at this early hour of the morning. What I've got for you today, we're going to talk about time management. Now, I'm not the best in the world at time management. It's something that I have to actively, try to do to get better at, to get things done within the time that I have. I did a podcast early on. I'm on episode I think 96 or 97. I'm not even sure. I know I'm getting close to episode 100, so that's kind of exciting. If you're somebody who's listened to the show and has liked anything that you've heard, go ahead and leave me some feedback or send a review or a voice message or send something in and I'll share it on the 100th episode. That's going to be a lot of fun. But I shared an episode early on about time management and how time management should more accurately be called self-management, because we can't manage time. Like, time is what it is. It's a linear thing, and we operate within time, and we can only manage and control ourselves within the time that we're given. And we have to actually do things. So it's self-management within the time rather than time management for ourselves. And I think if we can make that subtle shift in our mind that we actually have to change our actions within the time that we're given, then we'll be more effective at what we like to call time management. There's a lot of different strategies out there. There's a lot of different ways to manage your time, and they all can work if you work the strategy. One of my favorite things to do is I keep a planner, and this is the Ziegler planner, the performance planner from Ziegler Industries or Inc. or whatever they are, from the Ziggs company business. Ziegler's no longer with us, but he left a legacy behind. And one of the things that came out of that is this time management, or this planner, which is essentially a goal-oriented and time management system. I love it. This is the third, maybe fourth year I've been using it. It's great, but you have to actually work the system. And that's just one of the things that I do to try to get the things done in life that I want to do, rather than looking back over the past week and be like, oh man, I should have done that. And I wish I had done this. And look back over the last year, man, I wish I had only done that. When am I going to do it? I like to put it in my calendar, put it on my list, and actually make the things happen that I want to happen, rather than we'll get into that. Before I get into that, I want to share a verse that I came across. Typically, I go through Proverbs. I read through that. There's like 31 chapters in Proverbs, and I usually read through that once a month, just a chapter a day. It's something that keeps me grounded. It talks a lot about wisdom, finding wisdom, and yes, becoming a more wisdomous person, for lack of a better term. I decided to switch that up, and I'm actually reading through Psalms right now. No, I'm not going to read through that in a month because there's like hundreds of chapters in there, but I will be going through that. But the verse that I wanted to share with you guys says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, in his time. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper." So trees have a time management system built into them. Plants have a time management system built into them. They have a calendar that's written in their code. So when they get the proper preparation, the proper planning, when things happen in the right manner, their fruit comes forth in its time, in its season. And we as humans can be the same way. You know, there's things that we want to get done, there's things that we need to get done. And if we take the proper steps and do the right preparations, then in its time, those things will happen. So if you want to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water and bring forth your fruit in your season, or get the things done that you want to get done in the proper time, you actually have to plan it and work the plan. I want to share a quote with you as well. And here we go. This is from Andy Warhol and the philosophy of Andy Warhol, an autobiography. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. And that goes right along with what I said earlier about managing yourself. It's a self management rather than time management. If we can make that shift and realize that we actually have to change the things, time doesn't change things change things. Time just is. Things act within time frames. I'm not going to go into physics and all of that. You know, that's they'll bend your mind, literally, like make you go mad trying to understand how they think time is a circle or a wave. It's a lot easier if you look at time as a linear thing. You start here, you end here. That's how things have been throughout history and will be for the foreseeable future. If you can understand that you start here and you move through that till you reach an end date, then you need to act along that timeline, because once that time passes, you don't get it back. You know, my year 35 is gone. I don't get to do things in year 35 anymore. There's things I wish I had done. It's not going to happen because I'm past that. I'm more than halfway through year 36, I think. Something. Maybe I'm turning 36 this year. I don't know. So I got to make stuff happen in my year 35. I don't even remember. I think I'm 35 or 36. Anyway, my past years are gone. I'm not going to be able to do things in those years anymore. I have to do them in that time, in that season. If I want the fruit to happen, I've got to make it happen. I've got to do the work. So I want to share with you 9 time management tips to take back your time. I got to move this thing. There we go. Stop wasting your time. So time is a great equalizer, okay? No matter who you are, you've got 24 hours in a day. We look at people who get so much stuff done and we're just like amazed, like, whoa, how do they do so many things? But we've all got 24 hours in a day. See, for too many of us, though, those hours are already spoken for. You know, you've got sleep, you've got your family, you've got work, and maybe a little socializing, and then some TV, and then some scrolling TikTok or Facebook or whatever, what have you. There's not much time left after that. So it's really important that we use that time well so that the fruit that we talked about from Psalms 1 verse 3 can come forth in its season, so that that fruit can be created or grow in its time. It's important we use our time well. 9 tips to help you avoid wasting your time. The first one is probably the hardest one for most people. I know it's really hard for me. Tip number 1, stop saying yes when you want to say no. Okay? So, do you ever find that you take on more than you can handle? Like your plate is just overloaded. If you can say no just a little more often, it would help out with that. So it's really good to or a team player, but you don't have to take on everything that someone else asks of you. When we give of our time to do somebody else's work or to make their problem our problem, we lose that time somewhere else in our life. It's 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 good to help people out. We need to do that. But sometimes you just have to say no. Number 2, focus on one major task each day. There's a lot of different time management systems out there. My good friend Nicole Sauce uses my 3 things method. She lays out 3 things that need to get done each day, and no more things. Like, can't do any more than 3 things. Can't lay it out at all. Put 3 things on your list and then get those done. Tim Cook, Toolman Tim Cook, you should go follow him. And puts out some great content over at Toolman Tim's workshop. He does, I think he calls it the 5-4-3 method or the 3-2-1. I'm not sure, where he lays out kind of like the rocks method. You fill out, you write in your one major task for the day. Let's just say, call it the 1-2-3 method. One major task for the day, 2 smaller tasks for the day, and then 3 really small things that you need to get done that day. And you just work those things. But and all of those things work. But if you just focus on one major task for each day, like for me, that major task could either be recording this podcast today, or it could be going and installing the backer board for the tile job that I need to do. I can have different, I can do more than one thing each day. I can have different things that I'm going to do, but make one thing your focus. This one thing shall get done, schedule it in, and let the other things that you need to do fill in the gaps. So focus on one major task each day. And I'm not saying only do one thing per day, but it's like walking through the dark of night and you're stumbling through the woods, but you see a light out there through the trees that you're trying to reach. That's your guiding light. That's what the one thing each day is. It's your guiding light. It's one thing or one theme to focus on for the day. So when you're in between tasks or whatever, you're not going to find yourself wondering what to do next. You'll always have that thing, that one major task to come back to. Like, I know this is what I'm working on. This is my focus for today. Tip number 3, you don't have to respond right away. We are overrun with notifications from text messages, phone calls, emails, TikTok notifications, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. The list goes on and on and on. I have actually turned off most of my notifications on my phone. I actually have to open the app to see if there's any notifications there. Very few of my apps have permission to notify me of anything, even if it's sending a message. So we need to realize that those apps, those people that access us on those apps can't control our lives. We have to control that. If you're waiting on something specific and time sensitive, like an email, that's one thing, okay? Go check it out, go take care of it. But, if somebody just randomly calls you or emails you or the Facebook notifications, those things can wait. Schedule time in for that. Like, okay, at noon, I'm going to take 10 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes, however long you need to schedule in to take care of those things. Then you're not taking 5 minutes 15 times a day, wasting time on those things. You're batching it all at once. Number 4, figure out your time-wasting triggers. So we all have triggers that almost always lead to us wasting time. I do. If you work in an office environment, which I don't, but if you do, they often have a coffee station. And sometimes when you go down to get coffee, your coworker's there and you start catching up, and next thing you know, it's 30 minutes later and you've wasted all that time that you needed to be working on that important project. For me, it might be, I'm tired and I need to have a break and sit down and drink a glass of cold water. Next thing you know, it's 35 minutes later and I've been, watching YouTube, or scrolling down TikTok or Facebook feed or whatever. There's little triggers like that, and we have to know what they are so that we can catch them. Sure, go get coffee. Sure, chat with your friend a little bit, but don't let it steal your time. Be conscious of the time that it's taking. Number 5, make time for self-care. Doing things that are important for your mental and physical health is not a waste of time. So it seems counterintuitive to take time for yourself to save time. Instead of meditating or having your devotions or going for a run, we think it'd be more productive to go get stuff done. But if we're So that's all I've got for you today. Those 9 time saving tips. Um, which one of those was the best for you? Like a lot of those I need to do better at. Most of those I could be much better at. Some of those I'm like really bad at. Which one of those was the best for you? And then I'm going to send this out in my email as well when I send the email for the daily show. But the question of the week is, what do you wish you had more time to do? Whether that is going fishing, going spending time with your spouse or with a friend, or going bowling or hiking, whatever those things are, what do you wish you had more time to do? Let me know either in the comments or send an email to ken@constructiveliberty.com. And I'd love to know what that thing is for you. And I'll share my thing that I wish I had more time to do on the show next week. And as always, you can do whatever you want in life, but whatever you do, do good work.